Hey girlies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jennifer and this is a ready to wear affair where I discuss all things fashion, mostly luxury and designer fashion because that is where my true passion lies. But of course, as a true lover of fashion, I love all price ranges. That's contemporary fashion, fast fashion, high street fashion, vintage, pre-loved, you name it. So if that sounds like your vibe, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any videos from me. And just go ahead and like this video because it's a really good one. I feel like it's a video that I've been looking forward to make. So let's get right into it. So this video is going to be all about the details that have been recently released regarding all things related to the H&M and Glenn Martens collaboration. If you guys have been following me for quite some time, and even if you just stifle through my video history, you'll see that I cover quite a few of the H&M collaborations with designer luxury houses. So it's kind of like my thing. I'm a lover of the mashup of the two worlds, and it's been something that I've been able to participate in at a very young age when I was making less money. And so it stays true in my heart and soul. Whenever I hear fashion girlies cover content and they kind of talk down on the collaborations for whatever reason, it makes me sad because it's very nostalgic to me, and I think the goal in trying to get more people to be able to experience the quality or close to the quality design, right? Something that is a piece of the luxury house that contains a lot of the same elements, sometimes almost exactly the same elements, with maybe a step or two down on the quality as the high-end version, the designer luxury house version. So I just love that concept. I love how people are still trying to make things affordable for those who have expensive taste but don't really have the budget to support it. Hence me at a younger age. So I mean, at this big age, I'm still not necessarily able to afford it, but I'm able to afford it more than I was, or I'm in a better position now than I was when I was a younger girly. So without further ado, let's get into this entire collaboration. Not many details have been released, which has been quite frustrating. I feel like they're extremely delayed compared to the timelines for prior and past collaborations. For example, I believe the Mugler collaboration, we were told about a month out. Even for the more recent Magda Butrym and H&M collaboration, I think we were told in March or so, and the actual collection dropped in April. So we had over a month to, or a month or so to, learn more about the dates, the date of the actual drop. I think details about what locations were physically carrying the collection were released maybe closer to the release date. But at least we knew what pieces to look for. We got a lookbook, we had prices released, I think maybe a few weeks before the launch date. But for this collection, they've been a little delayed. They dropped the details on October 17th, and the collection, as we now know, is on October 30th. So the collection is set to launch both online at hm.com and in stores, in select stores. And that's it in terms of anything regarding the timing and location. So I'm assuming more details will be released closer to the date, but that's less than 2 weeks, right? You guys are slacking. What's going on? And it's making me feel like they kind of want to be a little bit low-key with this collection. Maybe they're trying to prevent crowds or large crowds from coming. It's hard to tell in terms of what I'm thinking through in terms of predicting the turnout. And I'm doing it on a scale of Mugler, which I went live shopping, and that was actually a very well organized, one of the best organized experiences regarding these highly anticipated collaboration, limited edition collection drops ever. It was one of the best I've ever experienced. It was well organized. They had so much inventory, both online and in store. And I was able to get literally, I think, everything I wanted, which never happens, ever. So that is to me the standard to follow. However, Mugler is a huge name in the fashion world. Even those who aren't super fashion people have heard about Mugler. It's not quite a household name, but it's not unknown, right? I would say though, however, when you're thinking about a more low-key collection like the Magda Butrym collection, one, I will say Magda Butrym is definitely more of a feminine brand, and so people who like a more feminine aesthetic are more drawn to that line. versus Mugler, which marketed itself as unisex. So the collection was very unisex, like it was very much promoted that way. And it had also like a men's and women's line, right? So both genders were being catered to with that collection. And then Magda Butrym was just a very, very small, I would say niche-y kind of brand. And if you know brand. And I think that this collaboration really did help put it more on the map. And again, the girlies in fashion know Magda Butrym. I was very well familiar with Magda Butrym before this collaboration. I even own a few pieces, again, before the collaboration. Like that denim skirt, the denim maxi skirt that I'm obsessed with, that one I've owned for over a year. So well before the collaboration. Again, the collaboration with H&M and Magda Butrym dropped in April of this year, 2025. And it was very small inventory, which was frustrating because I wasn't able to get anything online that I wanted. When it dropped, I think it was 10 a.m. on a Thursday in April. And I had more luck getting more to what I wanted in store. So that's making me believe that for this H&M and Glenn Martens collaboration, it's probably more advisable, or I would advise going to shop it in person if you can. And predicting based on how past collections have been, they're probably guaranteed going to have it at the same, I think handful of places across the US. So that's New York 5th Avenue location, and that's the one I usually go to. So far, almost all the collections have been there. I think there's a Soho H&M that typically always has these collections, so I would assume that they would continue having it there as well for this Glenn Martens collaboration. And I think those are the two in New York, and there's a few others. There's one in LA and a few others across the US. That's it, typically. And judging by how the promotion has been very low-key, very delayed, I don't think it's going to have mass inventory. I don't think it's going to be in that many stores. Again, I think it's going to be the handful or so typical usual suspects across the US, and including the ones I just named. And online's going to suck. Getting things online is going to suck. You're going to go on, you're going to have your, details logged in on the H&M app because it's always easier to shop on the app than on the website. You're going to, have your app, you're signed in, you got your wish list items added to your wish list. And once it strikes 10 a.m. or whatever time it is, I think it's usually 10 a.m., 10 or 9 a.m., you're going to try and add them to cart, and they're just going to sell out in the first few seconds of launch time, which was usually, again, I think 10 a.m. So that's my prediction in terms of how this collaboration is going to go. So yeah, I advise going in person if you can. In terms of crowds in the live shopping experience, I would say no overnight needed. Glenn Martens is still very much, if you know, kind of designer. Of course, we love Glenn Martens over here. He is the current creative director of Maison Martin Margiela. And he's had, I think, his most recent show was at this past fall Paris Fashion Week. And I've heard mixed reviews. Personally, not my favorite. And I can get into that another time, but I'm still very much so far a huge fan of his work at Y Project. Y Project, RIP, is the now defunct brand. I believe it was a 11-year-old brand or so. And he was the creative director for some time, for many years, for majority of the Y Project brand's lifespan. So just some background on how we got here, right? And some background info on Glenn Martens too. Now let's get into the actual collection and what we're expecting to see. They finally dropped some images. Like I said, October 17th, they gave us a date. October 30th is the launch date for this collection in stores and online. Super excited. I think I'm probably gonna go live because I wanna make sure to get some pieces. I'm obsessed with some, and we'll go through the ones that I'm eyeing in this video. And I really wanna make sure I get them. And I again, as I mentioned, so far I've had more luck getting what I want in person than online. Now, let's get into the actual collection and the pieces that I've been eyeing. So I have my laptop here. I know you've been seeing my screen for the past 20 minutes I've been talking, or 15 minutes, whatever. Let's get into the looks. So they haven't dropped prices yet, like I mentioned. Just an image of all the different ways the pieces were styled. So every single piece was showcased in a like stylistic photo shoot, but then they also have a giant one large photo with like icons of each individual item in the collection. So it looks to be about 58 pieces in the collection total, which is a good number. It's a sizable number. And this includes jewelry, clothing, shoes, bags, and accessories, which is a pretty extensive collection. Most of these collections with H&M, these limited edition designer collaboration collections tend to have like everything, which I love. And the price ranges usually vary. So let's get into my favorite pieces. So like I said, unfortunately, they don't have the names of each item. Like they don't have the title or names of each item, nor do they have prices available yet. Maybe by the time I finish editing this video, it'll be available. And if so, I'll put it up as I go through the items that have caught my eye. I will say overall, and after reading the article, this collection is Glenn Martens' final chapter for my project. This is him kind of saying, like officially putting a nail in the coffin on the brand. And I love that. It's kind of like an ode, you know, like his love letter, parting ways, like making it official to a brand that he loved so much. And as I read the article, it's kind of an interview between Glenn Martens and Anne-Sophie Johansson, who is the creative director at H&M. The two of them worked very closely, as the H&M creative director usually does for each of these designer collaborations, with each other. And this is their brainchild, of course, but obviously Glenn Martens spearheaded everything. And given that this is dubbed or considered to be a final goodbye to Y Project, pretty much Y Project's DNA is littered all throughout the pieces in this collection. In fact, many of these pieces I've seen like iterations, or like they are considered to be, to me, I would consider them as iterations or reinterpretations of some very popular standout Y Project pieces, some of which have been like archival pieces. I will say there's a few that I wanted to have seen him reinterpret in this H&M collaboration, and I'll talk about those as well. But let's start on, and let's focus on the pieces that I loved, that stood out to me, that I definitely want to get. So the single piece that I want the most, so much so that if it's the only thing from this collection that I get, I will be happy with it, I'll be satisfied. I would convince myself, but I would be, is these boots. Like these really thigh high, no, in fact, they're called hip high boots that are denim and leather, I believe, and they're like warped. They have like a warped, baggy, slouchy design. OMG, I believe he had launched them in his I think they said it was like the 2014 collection. These boots are hip high, not thigh high, not over the knee, hip high. And you know, I am obsessed. If you've been watching my channel, I'm obsessed with thigh high, super high boots. At the higher, the better. You can't get any higher than these. These are the boots I want. This is the item from the collection that I want the most. I have to have them. And I know if I miss out on them, they're gonna cost like $5,000 on the resale market, and I'll never have them. Another worry I have about these boots is these collections tend to not have a full wide range of shoe sizes. I am crossing my fingers that they have a 41, because that's my size. As a true US size 10 women's shoe wearer, that is my size, US women's size 10. When I wear European shoes, it translates to an EU 41. I am fearful that they will not have these boots in that size. It will stop at EU 40, and that would be that. So let's cross our fingers that we can get this shoe, and they'll make it available in an EU 40 and 42 for the girlies. Like I'm not trying to be selfish. Like I want all of us big-footed girls to have an option, to have a chance at getting this boot in our size. Now, because it's a large size, they probably will make very few of them. And my chances of getting these shoes in my size, if they even have it available, if they even make this shoe or carry the shoe beyond an EU 40, are slim. So that is a standout piece to me. The most coveted piece in this collection are these hip-high denim warped boots. I mean, I love the color. I love that it's like a dark denim. It looks very similar to the boots that were shown in the 2024, I think like fall, winter Y Project runway show. And I think they were available. I saw a few available on Satire, But however, they were always only in very small sizes, like I think a 37, 36, 38, and I never stood a chance of getting them, and they were very pricey. I'm also guessing in terms of pricing, it will be very, very steep, probably like 700, 800 range, which again is much cheaper than I'm sure whatever Y Project would have sold them for, thousands, you know. But yeah, fingers crossed that I can get this boot. So that's the number one standout piece for me that I have to get. And I'll keep you girlies posted, and I'll try. I might not be able to film my actual in-store experience, but I will, of course, give you guys a recap. So that's number one for me. Top piece. Best piece of the collection. Next is this, honestly, everything in this look. So it's including the boots, right? The boots, number one for me. But this black blazer dress here, chef's kiss. I love it. And I love how it's styled with this blue striped button down. Everything in this look I want. So I want the blue striped button down, which I feel like probably price-wise would be like, I don't know. I could see it being like 110, 80 to 110. It's oversized, and I love the high collar detail. You can see it peek through the black blazer dress. Love, 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 love this look. This entire look, I would wear it the same way. I don't usually copy like mannequin or like how styles are done or looks are put together based off of the runway. Like I don't like to usually rip off looks right off the runway and copy them, just like copy and paste them. I don't like to do that. I usually like to rework it and style it in my own way. But this look, yeah, this is it. I'm wearing this head to toe. I'm keeping it the same. So these next two pieces are also what caught my eye, and I hope to cop them in my shopping, during my shopping experience. The next item that I would definitely consider, price-wise for the blazer dress, I feel like that would be, I could see it being like $250. If it's wool, maybe $300, $350. Probably $350. I could see this being a $350 price point. But yeah. And then other items are this two-tone denim, these two-tone jeans. Again, I love how it's styled here. This whole look here, I would repeat again. The boots, of course, this two-tone jean. You have like the blue and the black two-tone. Love that. Y Project has done, I would say, a few jeans in a similar fashion, including a cutout version one that I really liked that I was eyeing. It was on Essence, and then I don't know, I slept on it and now it's sold out. So this reminds you of that, mine is the cutout version. And then there's this white top, this white invisible strap top. Famous, viral, broke the internet. Everyone had it. It was sold out everywhere in like minutes. Like this was a very famous top that I think was it went viral. Was it this summer or last summer? Oh no, it was last summer. Yeah, it was last summer because Y Project closed this year. So it went viral and it was extremely famous. It was a hot, best-selling item for the brand. I'm surprised the way it sold. It didn't save the brand. But I love that they brought it back for this collection, and I could see this being under $100. It's unique, trompe l'oeil, so trick of the eyes, play on the eyes, illusion, pretty much, with those invisible straps. The original Y Project version of it had ribbed detailing. It was like a ribbed cotton tee, and it had more of a wife beater design to it. This is more of a camisole because it has some added like cups. It's like, it has actually this distinct like under breast cuppage. Because it's probably more an affordable size, I'd see it being under $100 US, probably gonna sell it very quickly too. So if you really want that, and that's one of your top items, I suggest like making sure and prioritizing that item and adding it to your wish list before the collection drops on October 30th. So yeah, the jeans, I could see the jeans being like $150, $180, $200. Between $150 and $200, I could see them. And it looks like they're straight leg jeans, I would assume. I would prefer it if it was more of a wide leg or baggy jean, but in my opinion, I think because it's tucked inside of these gorgeous hip-high denim leather boots, it's probably more on the slim, straight leg side. Oh, another piece that I had my eye on that I totally want to get is this denim like split skirt, very reminiscent of the high slit maxi skirt that the Y Project line produced for one of its final collections that also went viral. A lot of people actually bought the skirt along with the invisible strap tank top, and that was a totally cool, casual, cool streetwear vibe. Again, both pieces went viral, and so I like that Glenn Martens brought that back again in a slightly variated version where it's like multiple slits and it's a maxi style, very flowy. It looks like it's made of a durable cotton, and I would predict price-wise for this to be around $250, definitely under $300. I could see this being definitely more than $100, $250, under $100 price range. So definitely also have my eye on that piece. What else? Let's see. Similarly, there's a denim version of this, a blue denim version of this dress that has spaghetti straps. So there's a maxi skirt version in black denim, and then there's a like light wash blue denim version of it. It's a maxi dress or midi dress with slits, very similar to the skirt, but it's a dress and it has spaghetti straps. So those two items, either or, I wouldn't get both. I would get whatever would be available. If I had options, I would grab whatever would be available. I think I'm leaning towards the skirt. I feel like skirts are more versatile. You can mix them with really cool tops, etc. So those two pieces, I definitely also have my eye on copping. So that's pretty much it for like top items for me. So the hip high boots have a ankle version. Honestly, I just want the hip high boots. I'm not really interested in the ankle version. It's just not, to me, it's either go hard or go home. All or nothing. So I want the hip high, show stopping, causing a traffic scene, traffic jam, all eyes on me version. And if you're someone who doesn't like to bring attention to yourself, if you're more demure, laid back, more subtle, more low key, the ankle version might be more your vibe. So just wanted to flag that one as a potential option for those who want something that's less in your face. And then what else? There's like scarves, there's like, looks like there's earrings, there's necklaces that look really unique. There's belts, sunglasses. There's a trench coat in there. The trench looks pretty basic to me. If you are not familiar with me and my style and my channel, if you're new to my channel, you may not know, but I'm obsessed with trench coats, but they have to be like not boring. They have to be not basic. They have to be interesting, have a really cool design and element to it. Just nothing that's just plain old trench. This looks like it at first glance, mind you. I'm aware that it's a very small image. I'm not allowed to enlarge. I'm not able to enlarge it. However, it does seem like the collar has that foil detail that allows it to be like molded and bended and warped. So maybe, it doesn't have a completely boring look. And there's some element of interest to it, and manipulation, which I love. But again, this is just my guess based on what I could see from the small image. Nonetheless, I'm just not really interested in that trench overall. There's like flannel pieces, like flannel plaid shirts with a really cool foil warp detailing. There's some trompe-l'oeil pieces, like trompe-l'oeil tees, like with some really cool graphic design. I'm not a huge fan of the trompe-l'oeil design overall. Like, if you girlies also are familiar with my channel, you know that I'm a Jean Paul Gaultier obsessed fangirly. And Jean Paul Gaultier is also obsessed with trompe-l'oeil, and I'm not. And in every collection, he seems to drop some graphic trompe-l'oeil iteration, and I'm just never really a fan of any of them. That's just not my vibe. White Project has done a few in when they were still very much an operating brand, and I've just never really bought into it. It's not really my thing, but for those who are interested, they have some available. And these are probably going to be on the lower price point in terms of like the overall collection, like where things are priced. I would see this being on the lower end of the range, maybe like 100, 110 and under. Yeah. And that's it. There's hoodies, there's sweatshirts. I like this really cool peach colored pants. There's tees, and that's pretty much it. Overall, I would say the collection is pretty much Y Project DNA. They're very Y Project coded. I'm overall impressed. I will say, and I'll get into the pieces that I was hoping to see that are not part of this collection, because there's a few. And so, like I said, I'm overall pleased with this collection. However, I am a little disappointed that they are missing some of my favorite Y Projects, like, to me, like DNA or archival pieces. I would have loved to have seen an iteration or an interpretation of their cutout pants, cutout bottoms, because they had pants version of this design. They had a denim version or denim versions of this design. I own 2 denim versions of the cutout pants or cutout jeans, which I love, a black and a whitewash version. I would have loved to have seen some iteration of this pant in this collaboration. And I would also say that this collaboration is more reflective of the final pieces, the pieces from the last few collections of the brand before they closed. So the more recent pieces that we saw in the last 2-3 years versus some stuff from like maybe 5 or earlier, more archival pieces. I would have loved to have seen him do reinterpretations of some of the pieces from those collections. Like I said, the cutout bottoms, pants, shorts. There was at some point in his earlier collections at Y Project, there was like a longer length jean cutout jean. Then there was like a shorter mini short cutout jean. Loved those. Would have loved to see him do some kind of like reimagination or reimagined version of those. The cutout pants also came in like wool versions. It wasn't just denim. There was other forms of denim. There was like a satin version, a metallic-y kind of version. So many different versions of the cutout pant. I would have loved to see some form of that in this collection. There are none. Other few pieces that I was missing that I was hoping to see him reinterpret is the blazer bodysuit. There was this really cool blazer bodysuit I remember he had in black, and during one of the runway collections, it was like the blazer and it was paired with some deep V, like V dipped pants, and so you were able to see like the V part of the bodysuit here completely, because the pants that you will wear with it had a deep V to expose that part of the bodysuit. But I own a pair of these deep V pants. I'll put a picture of the up of the one I have. I paired it at one of my styling videos with this Mugler bodysuit, and I love how it came out. And I would have wanted to see a version of that. He did such a phenomenal job when he would release some of those iterations while Y Project was still operating. I would have loved to have seen a reinterpretation of both pieces for this collection with H&M. Yeah. The blazer bodysuit, the deep V pants, the cutout pants or shorts. I think that's it. Those are the pieces I love so much from Y Project, and I would have loved to have seen him reinterpret for H&M. So I really wish that Glenn Martens dug a little deeper into the Y Project archives, into Y Project's earlier days, to reinterpret them for this H&M collaboration. That's overall my big feedback and comment. Like, you focus too much on the later days. Us diehard fans that have been following for years would have appreciated you tapping into your earlier collections for Y Project. But overall, I'm still very pleased with the collection. I love that he brought some really good standout pieces back to life. And let me know your thoughts. I'm interested in knowing your thoughts. This is pretty much everything that I am focusing on getting that have caught my eye. Let me know what you have your eye on, if you plan to shop the collection, if you plan to shop it online, in store. I want to know what my competition is looking like. Are we going to have to fight over the same pieces? Those boots, those hip-high boots? Do we have to fight? Do I have to be worried? But yeah, so that's everything that I wanted to cover. If more details are released as I'm editing this video, I'll make sure to include them for you girlies, like the pricing, sizes. I hope that this is a size inclusive collection. I remember how everyone just really lauded and praised the H&M and Mugler collection for its size inclusivity. I really wish that all brands and all these collections would follow the same path and follow suit. However, like, that was not what we saw with the Magda Butrym collaboration, unfortunately. So I don't know. I hope they are. I want them to be, but you know, don't be shocked if they aren't. Unfortunately, we have very far to come in terms of inclusivity when it comes to sizing in the fashion industry. So fingers crossed though that they have a wide range of sizes for all my girlies. But that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, girlies. I hope you liked this video. I'll keep you updated and I'll let you know about my experience shopping. I'll do like a little post video as I usually try and do. And of course, I'll showcase and dedicate an entire video to the pieces where I'm styling it, etc., and breaking it down for you girlies. The pieces that I hopefully, cross my fingers, will get. But thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe, stay blessed, stay respectful, and I will see you girlies in the next video.